welcome to Connect with Christina. Please say hi to my dear friend, John Bradley with
Proactive Home Loans.
There you go. How long have you been there?
We started the company last year, 2023.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's
And
been
why?
Fun. Well, we started in mortgages. You know, mortgages are kind of boring, but mortgages are a vital piece of financial, instrument that everyone needs to educate themselves about. But been doing it for 6 years and hopped into the broker side of things after working at a large retail lender for 3.5 years. I just knew I needed to be a broker. I needed to be loyal to my client, not to my employer trying to make as much money as they can, because that's conflict of interest. So
I love that, but break it down for us because no one really, unless you're trying to buy a house, whatever, like break down that piece, because obviously there's the real estate side that our wonderful lady Deb, she does the title. It's all like alien to me. So
Sure.
even though I was in property management, so your portion is.
So it's like a triangle. Like there's the realtor up top, and the realtor, my wife's a realtor, Holly's a realtor.
Shout out Holly Cooper Bradley.
Holly Bradley Cooper. And so she's the property princess. That's the way I say, is that she's the one showing homes, opening the doors, talking about the bedrooms, the bathrooms, the square footage, the garage, all that stuff. And then on that triangle, you also got this bottom corner, which is going to be the lending, which is the borrower, the client comes in with a down payment. Sometimes there's also down payment assistance or grants or something like that. But they're coming in with a down payment. They need someone else to front the rest of those, couple $100,000. And then on the other bottom triangle is the title company, which our lovely lady Deb at
Yes.
Premier Title.
We love her.
The title company is meant to be a neutral third party during the transaction to make sure that no one's taking advantage. It's fair. The dollars and the pennies are all accounted for, and we know exactly where it's going, and that no one is taking advantage of the other person or trying to fudge the numbers, which if it was just buyer and seller, that would be so common. So that's the triangle as far as
and
the
so in that
teams.
triangle, where does Melissa with
The notary?
yes.
So under the title company, so I as the lender or as the broker assisting the borrower and the lender will get all the loan documents done saying, hey, if you sign this, you're signing for a 30-year loan and you need to bring in the down payment and the remaining funds to close. But I'm not going to go and reach out and say, hey, I need you to sign these loan documents again, because there could be a conflict of interest. If I was shady or anything like that, or in 2008, lenders were shady, they could go and omit or forget to disclose some things.
Certain
But I need you
feedback.
to sign this document.
Right.
It's not
So
good.
just keeping it clean.
Keeping it clean.
So you guys are like a whole family unit.
We're a whole family. So to answer your question, the notary is going to be on the title company side.
Okay.
Title company reaches out to the notary, contracts them out, and says, hey, come sign these documents.
And we happen to have the best one. Shout her out for me.
We got Melissa G. Moore over at the Nearby Notary. She is phenomenal, her and her whole team, and her team is expanding nationwide, worldwide.
Yes.
Remote online notarizations is crazy, but now that team meetings are on Zoom, we don't have to go into the office anymore. It just makes sense that you can also notarize documents across the world, I guess.
Yes. And she'll be here soon. But yes, whatever you need, you'll find it right here. But with you, John, I feel like for me, because I've gotten to know you now, you're going to be the easiest one I can refer to, because I know that no matter who I send to you, freshly graduated college students, a small family, older adults or elderly, like I know you'll take good care of them, and I appreciate you for that.
Thank you,
Sincerely, but what are some of the other things that set you aside? Obviously, there's a lot of brokers, right? So
For sure.
What makes you you, and what makes you successful?
Well, so the thing that groomed me into who I am today and the company and where it's at and my client experience is when I started getting into adulthood, 18, 19, 20, 21, you're just figuring out how to live by yourself. I moved out when I was 18 because I got too many speeding tickets. I had to walk to work, got my first apartment, and I was like, oh crap, this is adulting. This is taking responsibility for my actions. But the thing that kept nagging at me, at my soul, was I need to learn how this game is played. You know Robert Kiyosaki. Think and Grow Rich.
Oh, yes.
Or sorry, not Think and Grow Rich. Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
I've heard of the book, so I'm yes and no and yes. Okay.
Okay. So Think and Grow Rich. Robert Kiyosaki, he's just like, he's an investor that grew up and he had two dads. He had a stepdad and a real dad. And it's the difference between like the normal go to school, get a degree, and get a good job. That's a different path, let's call it.
Right.
And then there's the rich dad, which is learn the practicalities, start a business, help people, provide value, become an investor. And it moves from being an employee, be self-employed, own a business, and then be an investor. And that's a book he wrote called The Cash Flow Quadrant, how to move to each quadrant and what problems you're going to experience and all that. So going through his books and listening to him, I was like, I want to learn how the money works. Like, how does money actually work? Yes, you can trade time for money, and that's an hourly or a salary position, but that's like a losing equation in my book. I was like, okay, how does this whole money thing work? So to answer your question, the value that I provide to my clients is I'm not only a mortgage broker, I'm also a real estate investor. I'm also a licensed financial advisor. I'm also life insurance licensed, and I also have my real estate license.
Wow.
So before I was able to accumulate the money in order to go and execute and buy properties and deals, I needed to educate myself. So I went out and I read all these books. Anytime I hopped on a podcast and they recommended a book, I would buy it and then I would read it. And I knew that if I wanted to skip the ups and downs of trials and tribulations, I needed to learn from someone else's life experience.
Right.
So I read all these books, listened to all the podcasts, watched all the movies, all that stuff. Got my real estate license, got my financial advising licenses, knew I wanted to go into real estate. Warren Buffett said it best, 90% of millionaires have made all their money in real estate. And I was like, okay, if there's 90% over there, I got some pretty good odds. So I do all that because when I work with my client, I put on a lot of different hats, but we always say like drink responsibly. Sure, yeah, casual Friday, Saturday night, but I'm getting people actively in the most amount of debt they're ever going to be in. We got to get debt responsibly.
Right.
And if I am incentivized financially to put you in the most amount of debt that you're ever going to be in, there's going to be some people that aren't doing the right thing. They're not going to have integrity. They're not going to be honest. They're not going to be transparent. And that's where I found the disconnect and where I can help my clients. I put on a lot of different hats. I advise, I disclose all of their options. We'll spend an hour and a half just brainstorming because a client brings a scenario. I don't know their backstory. I don't know where they're going. I don't know how much research they've done. So then I can walk them through, hey, it sounds like you're looking for X, Y, and Z.
Right. Yeah, because I feel like, you are able to somehow help any situation.
I want to.
And I appreciate that because a lot of people are lost, especially when it's their first time.
Yeah.
Right. Or there's situations in their life where they really actually need a good person with integrity to take them to the next level. Like, for example, everyone's going to get old. Mm-hmm. I sure wouldn't want, my loved ones to be taken advantage of.
Yeah.
And so I'm glad that we have you for that. I am thinking about something, and I don't know why it popped in my head. You said earlier, like between 18 and 21, like you're still trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
There was actually this question, we went over it last week. Are you truly an adult when you're 18? Go ahead and answer that, John Bradley.
Are you an adult when you're 18? I mean, no. The stamp of 18 as adulthood is just a legal milestone to where you can officially, at 18, you can go to prison.
And vote.
Like that's
and
really
military.
And go to the military. Like you can make some substantial life decisions at 18. But I mean, as an adult, I've met so many people that are 21, 22, 24, 25, 26 that I would not classify as an adult. No shame against their game. I treat others the way with respect, but you can always run into someone and tell if they are truly, in my book, an adult by how they handle themselves. How are they talking? How are they communicating? How is their mindset? What are their choices? And are they willing to take responsibility for their choices? That's something that the ability to self-reflect and take responsibility, that is an adult. And being able to efficiently communicate. My mom raised me when I was a little kid saying, you need to do what you need to do without being told to do it. And like the ability to just say, okay, I need to go do X, Y, and Z, and then do it. Ask for feedback, see if you can refine it. Can you put in a system in place to make it easier the next time? That's what I would call an adult, personally. What
Yeah.
age do you think someone has to be in order to be an adult?
I agree. I mean, I think that there's that, first of all, your brain doesn't stop growing till 25.
25.
So, but you're right, it's a milestone piece, but you're definitely not. I mean, you're still trying to figure yourself out. You can't possibly know what to do with yourself at 17 or 18. So that gap, you're really still finding out who you are, trying to figure out, just life choices, which brings me to my second thing. You are one person that I know should get in front of high school kids because you're a great example. And I feel like there's going to be a bunch of kids graduating soon. One of them's my child, my little baby Lana. She'll be the last one out of high school where they're going. Hold on, that's making me emotional. Anyways.
Don't cry.
But it's okay that they don't know yet what to do, because that way make the right decision what path to take. Because obviously, as you know, and obviously I'm older than you, but back then it was, you better go to college, and after college you do this, or some cultures it's like, you better be a lawyer, you better be a doctor, you better be an engineer, right?
Yep.
So where I really just want my kids to be healthy, and I want them to be happy, and I want them to figure out what sets their soul on fire. So the question is, for
those
kids,
3 things alone, that's like life goals. Because if you could be healthy, happy, and passionate with a mission and a purpose, it doesn't matter how much money you make. You're happy. You're going to live a long time. You're making an impact. Right. I love those life rules.
Yeah, I love that you love that. But seriously, I feel like you're going to really be instrumental to a lot of these kids they don't know what to do. So to the kids who actually don't know what to do after, graduating high school, what is your advice?
Educate. And I don't mean that by like, you have to go to college. I dropped out of college after the first semester. I wanted to be a police officer. And I was like, okay, I need to go to school. First semester, I was like, wait a second. I don't want to do this. So educate yourself on the thing that you actually want to learn, because school makes you learn a curriculum. After school, you get to choose what you learn. You're going to learn something, whether you're learning a lesson or you're developing yourself. And learning the lesson is usually not fun. So you might as well learn what you like. As soon as you're 16, 17, 18, when you can say like, I want to learn more about this. Read a book, listen to a podcast, ADHD is definitely a thing now, so try and read a book so that you're reading it, you're touching it, you're seeing it. It's so easy to get distracted when you're listening to an Audible because it's only one sensory instead of multiples.
I'll take you up on that, because I'm like the kind that I'm like, I want to listen.
At the gym, like, it's habit stacking is a lot easier. If you can go to the gym, put in an Audible, you're doing 2 good things. So you don't want to take any credit away from that.
Yeah.
But in order to absorb the information, you want to enhance as many sensories as you can in order to retain it,
That makes sense, except for me, I've only, I'm going to call myself out. I only have read a book when I'm on the beach.
Well, go to the beach more. Let's go. Let's go to the beach.
I don't know. It's something with the water, the sand, the feet in the sand. I'm like, I can read a book. Leave me alone.
Yeah. So to answer your question, with kids learning, if they come to me and they say like, hey, I want to learn about real estate. I hear all these success stories. I want to be a flipper. I want to flip homes, HGTV. I want to be a real estate investor and buy up apartment complexes. I just want to buy my first house and like rent out rooms to my buddies and have them pay for my mortgage. They're all great strategies. You just got to learn about them so that you don't have any accidents. Learn the wrong way and the hard way. Yeah, learn the hard way. So with clients coming in at that 18 to 21 year range, first thing is like, okay, go to biggerpockets.com. And real estate investing, it's a forum. There's no BS. They're not trying to sell you a course. They're not like trying to sell you 20 grand guru courses or nothing like that. learn and educate yourself and tell me what about the industry catches your eye. Do you want to do Airbnbs? Do you want to do midterm rentals and rent to traveling nurses or traveling work professionals? Do you want to rent per room and do like the pad split or the furnished finder route? Or do you want to just do the classic rent to someone for a year? And then, because there's so many
All
different
the
ways that you can,
options. My
you can
goodness.
do any of it. So, but that's all fine and dandy, but you need money. That's the hard part, especially in the state of the economy right now, and especially with how everyone is so trained to just bust out Amazon and place an order 2 clicks away, and then it's going to be there tomorrow. Like, you got to save money. And there's great books, Secrets of a Millionaire Mind.
We will have all the books you're recommending in the description below. Trust me, you want to listen to this man.
There's some good nuggets in there, especially like if you want to learn budgeting. Secrets of a Millionaire Mind. If you want to learn concept and like the path you want to go down, there's what is that? Fast Track Millionaire Roadway or something like that. I'll get all the
we want
lists
all the
and we'll
books. We
get
got to
there.
help these kids out. And do you believe in the kids taking a break, or do you deter them from doing that? Like, they graduate, some want to take a break, some are, what do you think? Personal opinion.
My personal opinion,
Mine is no, don't take a break.
when you turned 18, did you have like a rite of passage?
I'm Filipino. Our rite of passage is very like I was talking about that. It was like you're supposed to graduate high school, then immediately go to college, and then it's like you can't live in with someone. You have to get married. Then it's just like a whole thing. Obviously, things have changed over the years.
Yeah.
More open with different situations, and that's why I wanted to be different with my kids, because their happiness and their health to me is more important.
Yeah.
And what do I always say in BNI? The money is the result, never the reason.
Yep.
And so I feel like nothing is worth it if you're not happy. Nothing in life is worth it if you're not happy. So I think my
Preach.
thing is like right around that happiness.
I think we don't have kids yet, but we're figuring out how the stork works and all that stuff. So we'll see.
And you'll be great parents.
But if like my kids were 18 growing up, I would want to give them a graduation trip, because my dad raised us. I grew up in Hawaii, and over there, white people, haoles, they were looked at differently. Like, I was the minority, and people would want to fight me just walking down the hallway because I am white. And that taught me a lot growing up, especially in middle school and high school, But my dad always taught me traveling is the easiest cure of racism. If you go to another culture and you eat their food and you have a beer with them and you just sit and you observe, there's no race. We're all humans.
Yes.
We're all living our lives. We're all doing the same thing. We all need to we need to sleep under a shelter. We need food. We need water, and we want the best for our kids. Like, there's nothing separating us besides preconceived notions. So I want my kids to go out on like a graduation trip by themselves. It's going to be scary. I'll probably freak out, but have them go and experience some life things. And then when you come back, you're going to be considered an adult. So now is time you do this. You got to set yourself up. You're not relying on mom and dad anymore. You need to take care of yourself. You need to make sure you're providing for yourself, all that stuff.
Speaking of which, my oldest daughter Leilani's coming home, and she hasn't been home since she left for college. So I'm excited. She's 25 now, and she'll be moving back to Arizona. Woohoo!
Oh, score!
Yeah.
That's going to be so nice having her back.
Yeah, but to your point, it really has paved the way for the Leilani that is Leilani today, because of her getting away from the family, living in another state, you know what I'm saying? Like, first she just moved to the U of A, so that's Tucson. Then she went to Vegas. But you're right. I think that it's very important to let them go, let them like expand their wings. And I knew that she'd always find her way back.
And the
baby.
confidence saying like, okay, no one's going to figure this problem out for you. You're going to figure it out. You have to exhaust all the resources that you can think of in order to pay this month's rent, catch up on this bill, put gas in the car, put food on the table, pay the gym membership. Like,
right. And how to handle problems, because problems are going to come. It's called life, right?
oh yeah.
I'm telling you, our producer's giving me the 5 minute, but you have to come back here and like so many more times because I have so many more questions for you. You are like a go-to person for me for a lot of things. I hope you know that.
Oh, thank you.
And I just think that you are inspirational. And I want to put you in front of as many people as I can so that they have access to you and your wisdom that you somehow found so early.
Well, can I give like that 18 to 25, 30-year-old range? Can I give them a quick little like
yes,
value
please.
add?
Before you leave, I want you to do that. And I also have a few more things, even though it's almost time to leave, because I gotta take advantage of you being here. But take that away, and then I'm gonna come back to my question before you leave.
For sure. So for the first time home buyer or the person that wants to be an investor for the first time, there's a lot of unknown. There's a lot of, I don't know how to do this, but I know I want to. That drive is really, it's awesome. I love it. So I usually have to rein that in and say, hey, there's really two routes that you can go. You can buy an investment property. You can go out and say, I'm going to buy this rental. And you're going to be minimum 15% down. That's a lot of money. You know, Phoenix, Arizona, under 300 grand is a property you might not want. You know, 400,000 is kind of that milestone of like, it's a 3-bed, 2
How
bath.
things have changed.
I know, right? Just in 5 years. So that 3-bed, 2 bath is probably like 400 grand. 15% down to an 18-year-old is impossible unless mommy and daddy help out or unless they really crush it in a business, but unlikely. So I always recommend go buy your house, and it's called house hacking. Look it up. Google it, Bigger Pockets.
We want to
house
learn
hacking.
all about that.
Go buy a property, live in it as your primary residence, put 3 to 5% down. That down payment, 9 to 15 grand is a lot more palatable than 65, 80 grand. So go buy that house 3 to 5% down, rent out the rooms to your buddies for $700-800 a month. They're going to go pay that anywhere else. They might as well live with you. They might as well be close with their friends, their community, and they're paying your payment. They're paying your mortgage down for you. You got some roommates. That's that. Honestly, at that point in life, that's usually the fun part, but also they help out financially. And then live in it for a year, you can go out and do it again with 5% down on the next one. And then you can build up a portfolio, 4 properties in 5 years, and that'll cash flow. That'll definitely cash flow depending on long-term, mid-term, short-term rental.
I love that because I'm telling you, you got to come back here because you have so many. That's just one of so many different things that can be done through you and with your help. But before you leave, can you also tell us about the other side hustle people don't know about?
Talking about the property taxes?
Yes.
This is like my secret sauce. This is when you say get the passion project that lights your soul on fire. I'm 30 years old. I'm turning 31 in March. This is finally, I found my passion, my fire. And it's a boring business, and that's the best part. So there's this book, I need to find it, MJ DeMarco. I tried referencing it earlier, but it's like Millionaire Fast Lane is what it's called. And it talks about you can work a 9 to 5, but a boring business, one that can get you on that fast lane to be a millionaire, is a business that is not tied to your time. Because otherwise it just sucks you dry. You don't have the time in order to live life because you're working for all that time. It's a nice, boring business, but at the end of the day, 2 things are guaranteed in life: death and taxes. We know this. So can't help on the death part, but eat your vegetables. Taxes are becoming a very lucrative business for us. So given the 30,000 foot overview, in January, February timeframe is when we're going to start this fund. It's going to be a real estate private investment fund where our friends and family can pitch in money, and we're going to go out and buy as many delinquent property taxes as we can. And that's going to give, ultimately, why would you do that, John? Well, it's because the state needs that money. They've already said, our property taxes, our budget, we need this money. So the homeowner decides, I'm not going to pay my property taxes. Scottsdale taxes are like $3,000 to $15,000, depending if it's a mansion or if it's a house. $3,000 for just a townhome. Cool. I'm not going to pay that. $3,000. Cool. Sounds good. It goes to an auction and it starts at 16%. You front $3,000, you'll get 16% on your money. Well, okay, well, so-and-so will do it for cheaper. Pat will do it for cheaper. Deb will do it for cheaper. It comes down. Everyone's bidding against each other down. We'll all do it for 10%, 9%, 8%. Whoever bids the lowest number gets that interest on the money they front. So $3,000, they get 8%. And they don't get their money back until that homeowner pays their taxes. Mm-hmm. But here's the thing, they don't pay it for 3 years. Going on the 4th year, the state can go and foreclose on the property and say, we've needed this money for 4 years. You have not paid your taxes. The state has the power to go get the property from the homeowner and gives it to you as the investor. And if there's a mortgage, it's completely wiped out. So imagine getting a $400,000 townhouse in Scottsdale for 4 years of taxes, $3,000. $12,000 gets you a $400,000 house. That's awesome.
Right.
Or you make 8 to 16% on your cash. So we're going to play this on a volume game. We're going to raise up probably $1 to $5 million, depending on if we go nationwide or if we go 5 different states at a time. But we're starting just in Arizona. Mm-hmm. Raise up all this money, play the volume game, make the investors money. If a property forecloses, unfortunately for that homeowner, they got to pay their taxes. But then we split the dividends with the investor. And it's just a business, and especially with Elon going into the DOGE, right? Mm-hmm. Department of Government Efficiency. Mm-hmm. When I'm looking at every single one of these tax parcels, there's parcels in the West Valley, middle of nowhere, that the United States of America owns, but they haven't paid property taxes in 5 years. It's a worthless piece of land, but they haven't paid, the government has not paid their taxes. So there's so much we could do to provide value for the government to be better. Definitely leading by example at start,
Right. So is this something that's already off the ground, or are you going to announce this later to us?
We're getting the pitch deck ready. We're going to the lawyers. We're making sure that it's structured right, because it's a security investment. So we're regulated. We got to make sure the attorneys draft the documents the way that it needs to be, so that the investors are getting the structure that they want, and we're protecting ourselves.
Right. We're excited. I might know a few investors for you.
It's going to be a really fun, and that's another beautiful part about it. I would get to work with people that I want to work with.
Right.
I don't want to work with people that, complain about interest rate or closing costs. I will take the time to educate, but there's so many times where clients hold our job against us just because we're trying to help and their emotions are running high. Mm-hmm. With this way, I don't got to deal with any of the negative stuff. I just help people make money, and I help the government do what the government needs to do. And
I totally see that as passive income for sure. Mm-hmm. Right? So that's a beautiful thing.
Because you put the money there, you wait a couple of years, and you either get your money back or you get a house.
Yeah.
We'll find out.
Yeah. John Bradley, thank you for being here. You're going to see this guy a lot. Please tell everyone how to get a hold of you.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been fun. 25 minutes zoomed by real quick. You can follow me on Instagram, John Bradley with 2 Y's, JohnBradleyy. It's like Bradley Cooper. Spell it that way. Or Facebook. My website is Proactive Home Loans. You can find me at proactivehome.loans. Check us out on Google. We're over 150 5-star reviews. We love helping our clients. We're here for you. If you have any questions, you can always reach out.
There you go, guys. See you next time. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, Christina.